Yeah, hi there, and these comments are for Sharif, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT, and you've also paid for the additional service to have me error correct one of your essays, and you chose Independent Writing Practice Test number 4. Now let's take a look at the question first. It says people have different ways of escaping the stress and difficulties of modern life. Some read, some exercise, others work in guard. What do you think are the best ways of reducing stress? Use specific details and examples in your answer. Now, here is where I will make all my suggestions. Now, first of all, you have a well-developed essay, no doubt. So let's take a look at the word count. Okay, we got 581 words here. So you can't really develop your ideas any more than you have. So you have stress, pressure. I'm going to change this to temporary, appetite, loss. And no comma here. You don't want to separate your subjects from the verb with any punctuation. So stress, pressure, temporary, appetite loss are all symptoms associated with job pressure. No need to capitalize that. Let me jot down a few things here too. So I'll try to give you an idea when we're done, some of the things that you can study. So using hyphens, punctuation, what's called word forms, use nouns in right position. Okay. Let's see here. Associated with something like that might work a little bit better. So we have stress, pressure, temporary appetite loss, all symptoms related to job pressure, sometimes associated with adverse health consequences. Now, job pressure doesn't always cause disease, right? So I'm trying to give you a little bit broader idea, but we do associate job pressure with stress, and stress is commonly associated with negative health consequences. The ways of relieving the difficulties accompanying with our work are variable and changeable. But in this case, variable means changeable. So probably a little bit wordy there. I'm going to say wordiness. I'm going to write that down. The ways of relieving job difficulties. Watch this. I'm going to say vary. So you don't even have to say the ways of. Just say relieving. Relieving of a job-related stress varies don't even need that really. Let's just say depends. Depends on the natural dispositions and capabilities I would just say that. You can probably say exercise. Effectively. Again, you're a little bit too wordy. See what I'm doing here? Effectively relieves job-related stresses. We already said stress before, right? We'll say pressure. So we might say, by getting the stress out of the individual's mind. Here you have either two choices here. You have either a semicolon or a comma. A semicolon or a period. Let's put a period here. Let's begin our new sentence. Moreover, this is what's called avoiding. You want to avoid comma splices. This is a problem you're having in your writing. Moreover, the exercise, don't even have to say that. Just say exercise enhances flexibility and strengthens muscles, comma, body. I'm going to say that instead of what you put here. So you have finally, in terms of the social relationships, I like how you said that, terms of, usually we'll say in terms of, not in the terms of. In terms of social relationships, exercise since it's able to bolster, I don't think you have to say a lot of this. Well, if you just say this, exercise bolsters the relationship with others. All right, so I think if we take a look here, I think we have our thesis right up in here. So you have exercise effectively relieves job-related stresses unintentionally by getting the stress out of the individual's mind. Moreover, exercise enhances flexibility and strengthens muscles, thus building a well-conditioned body. Finally, in terms of social relationships, exercise bolsters relationships with others. So that gives us our three ideas. Now, it's a little bit difficult making the connections here. And why is that? In the beginning here, your thesis, and it's not that it can't be this way, but it looks like you have one, and then you have two, and then you have three separate sentences as your thesis statement, which you can do, but you still want to try to connect this back to different points. So let's say, first of all, we'll say, and then we will say, third of all, here. So using some transition was to connect ideas together. Okay, so let's say here, for example, exercise. Again, the one thing about your writing is you are just simply too wordy. You can be a little bit less wordy. Exercise effectively diminishes, I would just say job pressure or job stress, whichever one you like. Exercise effectively diminishes. How about this? In that, I think might be better. Spontaneously releases negative energy and bad thoughts. How about from the mind and body? Because you release negative energy made from your body, perhaps, and then you get the bad thoughts out of your mind. I would say to keep it fresh and cool, though. Remember, your writing is already enough. You're at almost 600 words, which is even too much. And in many cases, it's because you're a little bit too wordy. See, for example, once I had a logistics, I'm going to say logistics problem at my work as an architect. Okay, let's see if logistics is the right word. I think this is what you're looking for a lot, but let's go over to the dictionary for just a minute. Let's see. It says detailed coordination of a complex operation involving many people, facilities, or supplies. I'm going to say that might work for what you're trying to do, right? See, once I had a logistics problem at my work as an architect. Just put it here. I was working on a sustainability issue. Let's say for a museum for the fine arts. I'm going to put and. That way you avoid your sentence formation. And you have quite a sentence formation issues. You want to write down. That's the thing that you work on. So I was working on a sustainability issue for a new museum for the fine arts, faced a problem. And I think you have to say that. And the evaluation conflicted with the dealing high. There, that was word, right? Now you have a new sentence. So you don't have what's called comma space. That day, I went to the gym. Then maybe after that, I felt more relaxed. Relaxed and calm are the same. Don't need both. Use one or the other. Second day, I went to the gym, took out for an hour, and after that, I felt more relaxed. The next day, I spontaneously Okay, I think I have it here. Let's see this. Next day, spontaneously from the right solution that the air ducts were installed were conflicting with healing. Definitely. Jim played an important role I don't think you need that. Check a little paragraph length. I think you're pretty good at that. We're not. Yeah, 116 words. So a paragraph in 50, 150 words. Perfect. So I'm going to get to that last part. Well, let's take that again. First, exercise effective to diminish job pressure, and then spontaneous relieve negative energy and bad thought. Maybe an embodied example. Once I had a logistic problem at work as architect. I was working on a sustainability issue for a museum for the fine arts, and the ventilation duct conflict with the city height. That day I went to the gym. You don't even need to capitalize that. That day I went to the gym. Workout for an hour. After that, I felt relaxed. Next day, spontaneously found the right solution so that air ducts would all with conflict with the city. Definitely, gym played an important role in releasing the stress I felt at work and helped me solve a difficult problem. Second of all, see, you don't really have a topic sense. I'm going to be honest with you. You need one. So you want something like this. Exercise, we go back to what you said. So second of all, exercise strengthens muscles and improve flexibility. And then you have the sense that you have this get better. You have more detail. You need a topic, something in front of your paragraph. So we have many of our bodies say are always in need of exercise. Okay, so I think this paragraph needs to better tie back the actual thesis. You're talking about flexibility and strength muscles, right? I'll take out what we need to do here. So I'm going to go back to your thesis, get rid of the strength and the muscle thing. I don't think you're really not meaning that point in this second paragraph or third paragraph. More exercise enhances flexibility, thus building a well-conditioned body. Is healthy and intact. Now remember this example. Once you give an example, it needs to tie exactly back to the flexibility thing. So for instance, I have many friends who have some difficulties walking because their knees get a bit I'm not going to say rough. I'm going to say stiff or inflexible. For instance, I have many friends who have some difficulties walking because their knees get stiff. If something's stiff, it needs to become more flexible. Due to lack of exercise and long working hours, where they're confined behind their desk trying to finish their work. You might say, how about furthermore here? So furthermore, a friend of mine at my job was close to having to So furthermore, a friend of mine at my job was very close to having a surgery on his injured knee. His therapist told him to try walking an hour a day for long periods of time to see if the knee would develop a higher range of motion. I'm going to say fortunately, that might help here. Fortunately, his knee Now let's restate what you said in the beginning. Now we can leave it like that. Let's read it one more time here. It says, second of all, exercise improves flexibility so that the body is healthy and intact. For instance, I have many friends who have some difficulties walking because their knees get stiff due to a lack of exercise and long working hours. Let's see here. In which they are confined behind their desk trying to finish their work. As you can imagine, their bodies become flexible since they're not actively moving around during the day. Furthermore, a friend of mine at my job was very close to having a surgery on his injured knee, but his therapist told him to try walking an hour a day for longer periods of time to see if the knee would develop a higher range of motion. Fortunately, due to his rigorous exercise daily, his knee became more flexible, and he was able to avoid a serious operation of the knee. You also say healthy and intact because that kind of repeats the key idea in the beginning of that paragraph. All right, let's take a look at the final paragraph before we get to your conclusion. So you say, third of all, in terms of the medical benefits of the exercise, which they are countless, but to me that doesn't do anything to your paragraph other than read in the wrong direction. Why say that? Because here, you're saying in terms of social relationships, exercise bolsters relationships with others. You make it too hard for me, though. It's really not until the middle of the paragraph do I start seeing the purpose of the paragraph. So you need a better topic sentence here. So say, maybe what you do here is use a transition sentence. So in addition to a stress relieving effect, dry pressure, and now you have what you're trying to do here. So what I'm saying is you probably had just too much. You need a more concise type of transition sentence there that it effectively ties the first out of paragraphs 2 and 3. You turn into the topic sentence of paragraph 4, kind of like what it. You put, as such, there are no better ways to exercise and hang out with friends than a gym hall. I'm going to put here, which has always kept me in touch. My not favorable but favorite with my favorite friends, with no time to see except here, for instance, this is a great word to use here. You entered your example and say, comma here. For instance, the last time I went to the gym, okay, for instance, last time I went to the gym, I saw one of my clients who had to receive his phone bill design at prescribed time, but he hadn't because the partner had not finished it. I'm going to say here, consequently, both missed this mission. Reasons for not of. Regardless of any circumstances. Gym and exercise atmosphere help us solve the problem without any need for, let's say, verbal Confrontation. Vocabulary is a little limited. You say argument, I say verb confrontation. That is a more accurate way to explain it. I'm going to say this because you mentioned it. You talked about your relationship thing. Okay, let's take a look at this paragraph one more time. So we have, third of all, in addition to its stress-relieving effects from job pressures and its ability to improve one's flexibility, exercise and improve one's social relationship with others. As such, there is no better place to exercise than to hang out with friends in a gym hall, which always get in touch with my favorite friend who have no time to see except during workout. For instance, last time I went to the gym, I saw one of my clients who had to read this full building design at a prescribed time, but he hadn't because the partner had not finished it. Consequently, we both missed the mission. During one of my workouts at the gym one day, I accidentally met the client and wanted a chance to explain to him the reasons for the late mission. The client was reminded and asked me to submit the project regardless of the circumstances. As a result, the gym, the atmosphere, helped us to solve the problem without any need for verbal confrontation, and exercise helped me to improve my relationship with the client. So, to conclude, exercise always we'll say leads, job, relieve stress, it improves flexibility, whole social life. Now let's back to the question here. Now, I actually was able to omit a few words here, but you got really, really good. Really, I would develop this. In your last example, the social one was what I tell you use that to help explain your idea. The only problem, you're at almost 588 words. The only problem is, when you talk about social relationships, I think more friend things, you use a real long example about, how you benefit going to the gym and you're able to solve a problem with one of your clients, right? So that really is. All right, okay, let's take a look at it one more time. So we have stress, pressure, temporary appetite loss are all symptoms related to job pressure, sometimes associated with adverse health consequences. Relieving job-related stress depends on natural dispositions and capability of the person. Exercise effectively relieves job-related pressure unintentionally, bringing the stress out of the individual mind. Moreover, exercise enhances flexibility, thus building a well-conditioned. So we have here, moreover, exercise enhances flexibility, thus building a well-conditioned body. Finally, in terms of social relationships, exercise bolsters a relationship with others. First of all, exercise effectively diminishes job pressure in that it spontaneously releases negative energy and thought from the mind and body. For example, once I had a logistic problem to work as an architect. I was working on a sustainability issue for a new museum for fine arts, and the ventilation does conflict with this city height. And we should see here measurements for ventilation ventilating ducts inflicted at ceiling height. That day I went to the gym to work out for an hour, and after that I felt more relaxed. The next day as painting was found the right solution so that the air ducts were installed without conflicting with the ceiling. Definitely, the gym played an important role in releasing the stress I felt at work and helped me to solve a difficult problem. Second of all, exercise improves flexibility so that the body is healthy and intact. For instance, I have many friends who have some difficulties walking because their knees get stiff due to a lack of exercise and long working hours in which they are confined behind their desks trying to finish their work. As you can imagine, their bodies become inflexible since they're not actively moving around during the day. Furthermore, a friend of mine at my job was very close to having a surgery on his injured knee, but his therapist told him to try walking an hour for long periods of time to see if his knee would develop a higher range of motion. Fortunately, due to the rigorous exercise daily, his knee became more flexible and he was able to avoid a serious operation on his knee. Therefore, his knee is now healthy and intact. Third of all, in addition to its stress-relieving effects from job pressures and its ability to improve one's flexibility, exercise can improve one's social relationship with others. As such, there is no better place to exercise and hang out with friends than a gym hall, which has always kept me in touch with my favorite friends, whom I have no time to see except during workouts. For instance, the last time I went to the gym, I saw one of my clients who had to receive his final building design at a prescribed time, but he hadn't because my partner had not finished it. Consequently, we both missed the submission day. During one of my workouts at the gym one day, I accidentally met the client and found it a good chance to explain to him the reasons for the late submission. The client was open-minded and asked me to submit the project regardless of any circumstances. As a result, the gym and the exercise atmosphere helped us to solve the problem without any need for verbal confrontation, and exercise helped me to improve my social relationship with my client. In conclusion, exercise relieves job-related stress and improves flexibility, and it can uphold my social life and foster better relationships with my friends and workers. Therefore, exercise is a great way of escaping anxieties and difficulties that we so often face in our lives. I think we got it. Now here's what I wrote. Actually, this is what you wrote, and here are my editing suggestions to what you wrote. Now, in terms of some things that you want to work on, I'm going to write down some words here. Sentence formation issues. This has come up several times in this. You have sentence formation issues, particularly with comma splices. You can Google these terms and you can find out what they mean. So you need to do better here. Comma splices is an example. I think you need better punctuation, particularly in terms of commas, semicolons. I think with the punctuation, if you go to grammar, in the grammar part of my course, I do have 3 or 4 different lessons around commas, semicolons, colons, all that. You should review that. Now, you also have a huge problem right now with wordiness. You're not concise enough in your academic writing. Definitely not. Now, my recommendation here if you go to the grammar section of my course, let me show you what I'm talking about. I think there's a few things that you can benefit from. Let's go to the grammar part of my course. Okay, here it is, grammar. Got it? Like I said before, I think that you need to take a look at lesson number 1, sentence variety, and make sure that you do these sentence variety practice exercises. You also need to review lesson number 2, being more concise. Make sure you complete the lesson 2.1 where it says making sentences more concise. Also, you can go through lesson number 3, lesson 4, and these will cover punctuation marks. You had quite a few problems with that also. So those are some specific things that you can do at my website. Also with, going back to what I'm writing down here, capitalization, you can probably review that using Google. Capitalization. Also, you're having some problems with word forms, using a noun versus an adjective versus an adverb versus a verb. That's also something that you can work out. That's kind of something that's going to be difficult. You have to kind of have a good experience with the language, but you also need better vocabulary. As I pointed out, sometimes you're using sometimes fairly basic vocabulary. Now, if we go to the vocabulary section, I'll give you some general tips of some things you can do right now. So with vocabulary, I would say take a look at vocabulary lesson number 3 where it says the ebook of 200 basic words, vocabulary lesson number 4, lesson number 5, and lesson number 6. Of course, this takes probably a couple of months because those are over 1,700 words, but I think if you improve your vocabulary, you will be able to eliminate some of the problems that you're having right now. Now, if we take a look at the rubrics, the good thing is you actually have a fairly, the development of your ideas is actually quite remarkable, but I'm going to give you an idea of how you would score right now based on what you did, right? I know that Luis has been scoring a lot of your essays right now. He probably has not grammatically corrected all the errors like I just did, but he's certainly giving you some pretty good feedback on where you are. So if I take a look at the rubrics right now, I'm going to say I don't think you get in the 4 area here. I think you're probably just under the 4 area with your writing. I'm going to put you in the 3 range. I think you have some problems with sentence formation and word choice. So I think you have some problems here. Also, sometimes it's difficult to understand the connection of your ideas. Remember that I had to rewrite, I think, 1 or 2 of your topic sentences in your body paragraphs in order to make your connections a little bit better. Now, you also had the details, though. You're excellent. You're very strong on the detail aspects of your writing. So I'm going to say I'm going to score you right around 3.0 to 3.2. You're probably looking at about 20 to 21 points out of 30 on this particular practice test based on some organizational issues, based on a few grammatical problems with the essay that I've pointed out. So again, this is what you wrote here. And this is actually my editing of your particular paper. So this would give you, for the TOEFL, 5.5 out of 5, or 30 points out of 30. Right now, you're probably looking at about 20 to 21 points out of 30 based on what you wrote.